All right, another episode, rental house versus high income ETFs. So my name is Dana, and October of 2024, we sold this rental house, and we took the proceeds and invested it into some covered call ETFs, some high income ETFs, and having previously sold some other property and put in some different types of high yielding investments, I came to the conclusion, the theory that high income ETFs would do better than keeping that rental house. And the rental house was paid off. My idea was the 70,000 that we would net from that house would do better than keeping that house. And I'll just add a quick disclaimer that if somebody's trying to build up a nest egg, buying rental house is a good way to do it because you can leverage it with financing and basically have little or no money invested and build equity through the appreciation and paying down on the debt. And that's how we got to where we're at today. So, anyhow, I want to make that clear that I'm not anti rental house, but maybe I am at this point in my life. So, if you would kindly subscribe, like the video, turn on notifications, and this one down here, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. But anyhow, we'll keep going here. And I constantly like to keep an eye on the stock market in general. So this is the SPY, the S&P 500 basically. And I like to see how things are going, and it's slowly in a bull market. And we have a little bit of a dip down here. This is the 20-day moving average, and it looks like it might have leveled off. It might be coming back up. The 50-day moving average is red, and that has stayed inclined the entire time. We had this dip over here, but in the past week or week and a half, we had a very good upswing here, and we were sitting at 683, which is not quite the high. The high was over here close to almost 690 perhaps. A lot of people are predicting the SPY will hit 700 by the end of the year. And I don't know. It could, but who am I to predict? So anyhow, this Bollinger Band, I like to keep an eye on it and see how things are going. Now, for this account, I am not really doing anything that involves timing the market at all. What I use this for is I also sell options and trade options. And I use this to determine when there's a good time to jump in and sell like cash secured puts and covered calls and things. And just like keeping an eye on the market in general. So my equity is at 92,852, and it's gone up quite a bit this past week. My margin at 73,407. We'll look at that again here in a minute. And if you paid attention last week or the week before, you will remember that I sold out a GIAX in this account and put money in TDAQ, and then also put a little bit extra money in SPY QQQI while reducing my holdings in MAGY, AIPI, QDTE. So the reason is I think these three up here will hold the NAV more steady, won't decline as much as these three down here. But overall, the returns are similar, and we'll at that here in a few minutes too. So here's some recent happenings. When I watch some other YouTubers, they point at their spreadsheets and different things, and their mouse is moving all over, and I can't exactly see exactly what they're looking at and talking about and some different things. So I had some big old text here so you can see what's what. So what's happened lately? Let's start at this one. Got a distribution from AIPI. We'll skip these. And SPY, QDTE, and QQQI. So QDTE is weekly, so I get that weekly. These other three, QQQI, SPY, and AIPI, are monthly. So this one down here, CSP, cash secured put, instead of buying more shares or instead of buying as many additional shares in this account, I'm going to start selling some occasional cash secured puts on this account. And then if needed, a covered call. So I'll sell cash secured puts at a pretty safe strike price where I probably won't get assigned. If I do get assigned, which means I have to buy the stock, I'll turn right around and sell cover call to get rid of it because I don't want to hold those shares and pay margin interest. So it's not a big deal if I do. It's going to happen, but probably should only happen maybe 10% of the time that I'll get assigned and have to buy shares. I have never bought and sold options in Robinhood before. So I sold two cash secured puts with a strike price of $24. The expiration was 12/5. I did that November 25th, and I made $50. And then on November 28th, that option was worth only $10 total, $5 plus $5. I don't know why they split it up like this. So what I did, rather than holding this till expiration, I took my $40 and I had to pay $10 to close it early. So I netted $40 from this. So the way options kind of work for me, I will sell a put or cover call, and I usually don't wait till it expires. When I have a pretty good profit of, let's say, anywhere between 50% to 80 or 90%, 9 times out of 10, I will go ahead and buy that back early, even though I have to pay a little bit of money to get it back. And then I'll net some money. I'd rather do a sure thing and stick that money in my pocket rather than waiting until it expires. The only time I wait till it expires is if the price is shot way up and there's little or no chance of it ever getting back down and possibly having to get assigned. I don't want to turn this into a lesson on option trading. I do make a few other videos. I do a lot of option trading. And for November, we made $6,600, I think, selling options. So you can take a look at that video if you want. And I mentioned like a week and a half ago or so, I did some shuffling around. I sold my GIAX. I felt guilty because they sent me a hat. I do have some GIAX and blocks, which is their other fund in a different account. So I shouldn't feel too guilty. But anyhow, so these are some transactions I made a few weeks ago. TDAQ, I added a lot to TDAQ. And if you saw this slide back here, since I bought TDAQ, it's gone up $1,500. So happy about that. And these funds earn a lot of distribution money, and so I keep track of that. So this is for November totals. This is November. And I keep track of everything, and I pay margin on that I'm using of 70 some thousand. And I was trying to figure out how to keep track of my option income. So I have a different spreadsheet for the option income. And I'm not going to go over that each week or each time we make a video. Like I said, I have different videos that talk about options. I don't want to turn this video into that. But what I'll do, I'll just put a line here in my spreadsheet, and I'll just put option income and put the total that I earned for that month in option income down here. So I made $40 this month and put that down here. So right now I don't have any options outstanding in this account. I'll start getting more into that next week. This was a test option trade for Robinhood because, like I said, I've never traded options in Robinhood before. And the problem is I sold these options and I couldn't find where it went. Their web design is not very good. And there's only one reason I use Robinhood, and that's because their margin interest is the lowest I can find, like 5% or something like that, where Fidelity is 12%. So this account has earned 32%. So since November 1st, this is up 32.6%. Now, a lot of people say I should just buy and hold. And so if I would have bought like the SPY and just held it, I'd be up 17%, which is not bad for 13 months. Or QQQ, which is up 23%, which is pretty good for 13 months. All these are pretty good for 13 months, actually. You see the AIPI and QDTE, 18 and 17, but then you see QQQI, which is my favorite ETF, is up 20.5%. By using margin, I've boosted my return to 32.6%. A lot of debate on whether margin is a good idea or bad idea and everything in between. For me personally, I am not afraid of margin. I consider the same thing as like having a loan on a rental property. Do you just go out and buy a rental house, pay full price for it? Or do you borrow money and leverage somebody else's money so you can buy more property so the appreciation outpaces the loan and all kinds of good stuff? But that's how I look at it. my favorite spreadsheet, which is how I originally projected how things would go. And then over here is how things are actually going. So down here in the yellow is what week we're on. I projected I'd be at 107,000. I'd be using 80,000 margin, and that margin would be 75% of total equity. I have a total invested of 187,000, and this is how much I'd be earning per week, 0.751%. In total, I'd be up almost 53% for that 13 months. Over here is how life really is, which isn't that bad, which is actually pretty good. Most people would just take that and be happy, and I am happy. So I am sitting at 92,852. I'm using 73,000 in margin. In total invested 166,000. This past week was up 7%. Total for the year, I'm up 32%. Now you look back here, I was up as much as 36% till these two things down here dipped down. So I'm using 79% margin compared to my equity. So this number here is 79% of this number here. So my margin, you see these percentages here up to 90% and 91, almost 100% margin, almost as much margin as equity. And I've been slowly trying to get that down, which thanks to the market jumping this week, it fixed itself. But I'd like to keep that around 75% if I could. And I think I will be doing a better job at doing that because instead of keep buying more shares of ETFs, I want to grow this account by selling cash secured puts, which if I do it right, will not add anything to the margin and will keep paying this down. My initial goal is to try to boost this with the option money by maybe $500 a month initially, and we'll see how that goes. And I've been doing options long enough where I don't get too overly excited and jump into some bad trades, in my opinion. So if the market is favorable, in my opinion, I'll sell some covered calls and cash secured puts, try to boost that. But there'll be time where maybe I'll go a week or two and not do any option trading because the market is like moving in the wrong direction too fast or doing something I don't like. So anyhow, enough about that. And this whole thing is comparing the ETFs to the house that we had. And if we would have kept it, this would be how things probably would be. So I'd be collecting $700 a month in rent. My expenses would be $375 a month on average. And this is taken directly from my past 3 years of tax forms for this house. And that includes taxes, insurance, and routine maintenance. So the cash buildup would be $4,400 sitting in my account. Like I said, there's no mortgage payment figured in here. And then equity, I figured equity would grow at 4% for the year, $233 a month approximately equity growth. So my equity would have increased to 73,000. So total would be 77,429. So when we sold this house, we dumped a lot of money into it, fixing it up halfway decent to top dollar for it. And so we ended up putting over here 14,842 into the house before we sold it. So if you were to calculate this over a course of 3 years, that would be like $309 a month, that 14,000. And then you put that on top of the approximate 375 that I put in my other slide, like 368, we're talking like $680 a month in expenses for 3 years. So if you jump back here, I was getting $700 a month. So basically, with the amount of repairs that were being created on this house, I was breaking even pretty much for the past 3 years for this house. And if it wasn't paid off, I would be losing money. So we had 4 or 5 houses that very equivalent to this, same type of deal, doing okay monthly, but eventually there was some major expenses that need to be done: roofing, soffit, fascia, paint, doors, windows, all kinds of things. As the renters moved out, we did some major improvements and then sold it for try to get top dollar for it. Comparing the final results here, the ETF sitting at 92,852. The rental house is sitting here. So to date, $15,423. So that's pretty good in my opinion. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video and this comparison, and anxious to see how things go next year and see if I can outperform what I did this year by tossing in the option trading a little bit. I'll be tossing some more videos when I think about it. When I go to make a trade, sell cash secured put or cover call, and then post it so people can see how it's done using Fidelity. And then also with this account, I'll be using Robinhood. So remember, this is like not advice at all, just fun sharing YouTube stuff for everybody to enjoy, poke fun of, and whatever else makes you happy. So we'll see you next week with another update.